Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Bound to Truth. This is Christopher J. Lopez and
Jonathan Hershey.
Hershey Kisses.
Hershey squirts to you, sir.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
you
Oh,
gotta you gotta go by my surname.
the custard kind. Oh, Lord. Hey, we are
Yeah.
hoping everybody's having a great
Chocolate rain.
chocolate rain. Hey, we are hoping everybody's having a great evening. Tonight, we were going to have Xander on, the head guy of Afterlife Research, but unfortunately, he has headaches. And he's because he's not eating his proteins, if you know what I mean.
He didn't eat his vegetables.
He didn't eat his vegetables. So, John and I want to stay committed to doing this episode. And John had a great idea. So we're gonna do a little bit of improv and have some fun with it just to stretch our ability of what we do. But before we get into that, want to share how you can reach us. If you have questions, comments, concerns, love letters, or email hates, boundtotruth34@gmail.com. You can reach us on also Facebook. You can reach us on X as well. You can listen to us also on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and now newly on TikTok, which has been fantastic thanks to John's efforts on getting us over 1,000 followers, which is awesome. So please, everybody, come on and definitely see the videos and so forth, especially the stuff we're doing with Afterlife Research, with the Black Diamond that we did prior, and then now a second thing we're gonna do. It's Starvation Heights, which is going to be epic because of some thunderstorms tomorrow. And hopefully I don't get struck by lightning. And if I do, and I'm alive, I'm buying a lottery ticket.
Absolutely, you're buying too.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Absolutely. And then we could become rich billionaires and not have to talk anymore on this podcast. No, joking. So we're doing this improv tonight, and John had this great discovery, and I'm going to let John take it from there. So, John, what are we talking about, buddy?
I'm gonna butcher the name. There's gonna be a lot of names butchered in this. Camp Speicher Massacre or Speicher, Speicher. I hadn't heard anything about this until I saw this individual posting here in our great Kitsap County a video of him trying to file at the Kitsap County Courthouse and who was met with opposition from staff there, as well as they called the police to have him removed because he wanted to file these reports. This man is a whistleblower on this. He was there from what I'm gathering. Now, we are fresh into this. I discovered this 30 minutes ago. So I'm just going to list off some things about here. On 12 June 2014, the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, ISIL, summarily executed between 10,000 and 17,000 Iraqi cadets near Tikrit. The killings took place during ISIL's northern Iraq offense when the cadets were captured outside of Camp Speicher, we're just going to call it that for now, during their attempt to flee from the area. At the time of the massacre, there were about 5,000 and 10,000 unarmed cadets in the vicinity of the camp. And ISIL militiants selected the Shia Muslims for execution. As of 2024, it remains the deadliest act of terrorism in Iraq and the second deadliest act of terrorism in the world, surpassed only by September 11th, which were carried out by Al Qaeda, the United States. And when you go in here and you hit that in Wikipedia, that's really all it gives you. Then there's in the events alleged dishonesty of Iraq, and then it starts going into things, but there's so little information. And I want to know, I need to know, has anybody ever heard of this? Because I don't remember this ever being on the news. That is a lot of people who were murdered in cold blood to not make headlines or even a blurb. And the only time I'm hearing about it is this man who was a part of a group that was involved there is begging for justice for the people that were slain there, begging and
Absolutely.
demanding it. This individual, uh, I just, you know, I'm impressed with the fact that this man is willing to whistleblow. This gentleman, his name is Adam, and I'm going to butcher his last name, Knudsen. and he's very public with his stuff, so I don't feel like I'm going to be violating his privacy here with doing that. Like he's posting his stuff on TikTok and on Instagram. He is serious about this. Like
And by the
this
way,
is obviously
I'll
something
put a
he's
link.
dedicating himself to.
I'll put a link to the video you sent to me too. I think it's
Yeah,
important.
put a link to that video, put a link to his website. Let's get some legs on this. Like
Absolutely.
Chris, AIG was involved.
Hmm.
Black Rock was involved.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about AIG. I know that's kind of more down your alley.
Yeah. So AIG, if anybody, as old as me in the industry I'm doing in banking, um, was was a big was definitely the final, I would say, big bailout back in 2008 when the mortgage crisis happened. And before that, there wasn't going to be any more big bailouts. The government was very like, hey, we're not doing more big bailouts and so forth. But there was a big bailout in AIG. Now people are asking, well, why an insurance company? Well, because like any insurance company, which make more money than banks, and bought a lot of these mortgage packages. And AIG is not just a US company that's just solely invested with the US. They're also worldwide, which would have affected a catastrophe with the global economy. And the bailout was really important, unfortunately, with our own taxpayer dollars to make sure they are secure and so forth, not just because of the United States, but because of the global impact what it would cause. Pretty much think about a Great Depression, not like the Great Depression 1929, but not in the US, but globally. So I'm very interested in why on that. I have some theories when I was telling John about AIG. And also going back to BlackRock, just to remind everybody, just on a side note, BlackRock had that shooter who shot at Trump, who was on a BlackRock commercial, which again,
Isn't that crazy to link up?
exactly. It's a little crazy to link up, but it's interesting how AIG and BlackRock were involved in this with this whole thing. And now, why is AIG involved in this? I have some theories behind that, but before we get to it, let's talk about the possibilities of what happened there. And this is fresh. We have no idea. This is fresh. John just brought some attention, and I had a couple of theories and so forth. But John, I want to kind of hear your own theories and what you think what caused this catastrophe to these unarmed soldiers.
So people use the term, and I don't like this term. So nobody hold this against me because I'm going to correct it. But the politically correct term is called ethnic cleansing. It should be called ethnic genocide. Let's get that clear. I have a feeling that this had a lot to do with that. You have a situation where certain entities are able to get rid of a mass amounts of people that they don't really like, that they don't really care about, and they took this opportunity hoping that they could potentially do this under cloak and dagger. But obviously there are survivors from this. Obviously there's it's made some news, but man, I don't, not enough. Not enough.
Well, what's interesting about this too, John, is like we've heard more about the UFO or UAP news than this because this happened back
I've
in what?
heard more about Jake Paul fighting random people than I have heard about 1,700 people getting massacred. And that
Exactly.
disgusts me.
Exactly. And there's the thing, this happened in 2014. So this was 10 years ago, pretty much. Over 10 years ago.
This isn't like, that's still fresh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
And the
yeah,
news is so massive
yeah.
with things like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and all those things. How has this not been repeatedly flooding the market? And it's because it has to be silenced. That's what's going on.
And it has to be silenced for a very strong reason. And we hear about a lot about the UAP news and everything and how that's there because it's fascinating, it's fanatical, it's fantastical, but this is something that seems a lot more deeper. I have some different theories about that. John, I was gonna ask you, so was there any American soldiers involved in this too as well?
So, from my reading, that there were some U.S. Now they were all considered allied.
Mhm.
It does not say from anything that I'm gathering here that there were any U.S. soldiers that
Mhm.
were involved in this. I'm scanning real quick here. There are photos showing amassed ISIL fighters tying up the cadets and loading them up on trucks, with their photographs showing ISIL fighters killing dozens of cadets with assault rifles while they are laying down. The propaganda video shows them shooting at hundreds of men lined up in mass graves. So this is literally, there was videos of this massacre,
Really?
and they released these videos. It does not look like any U.S. soldiers were killed during this, but I could be wrong. However,
But it
second
sounds like there were
England.
soldiers who were witness to what happened.
These were unarmed combatants, and they're survivors. And I'm not saying that I got this right, because again, this is still fresh. It sounds like this individual, being part of DOD, what he was there, this whistleblower that we got going here, it sounds like he might have been there,
It
or
definitely,
he might have been part of the aftermath, or part of the recovery crew or something that's going on there. But he's involved somehow, and
yeah.
he is demanding justice for these people. And I just can't believe that this isn't being looked at more. Like, how, as a country, especially people who are considered allied to us, do we allow 1,700 of our comrades to be slaughtered, and there's no justice, there's no demand, there's no action?
Right, right. And the interesting thing is I'm curious. There must have been it's like I'm trying to think out why. Why would you kill so many? Is it because to keep us in a war with the Middle East? For God knows what? Is it because they witnessed something that was so extreme that it can create such waves on our own reality? That can be
Yeah,
anything. That can be biblical. That can be UFO related. And we all know that when it comes to like the Anunnaki and the Samaritans, that's all in Iraq, right?
yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of artifacts there, and we don't know. I mean, there's also like the giant of Kandahar, if I said it right, who was in
Candonar, yeah.
Iraq, yeah, in Iraq, which kind of maybe prove the whole thing with the Nephilims. We have no idea, but that's a lot of people to massacre, for something that I mean, we hear mob stories about killing a witness to not incriminate one of their people, but this is something that's a lot deeper. And not only was Black Rock involved, which I believe they have a whole mercenary group. I mean, look what happened with Trump. But also the insurance company AIG, why would they get involved? And again, insurance companies, me no insurance companies, they don't like to pay out. Again, they make more money than banks.
and
But
and where
yeah,
what was the payout for? And I mean, we're going to dig much deeper into that. Like, what part did AIG have in all of this? Were they somehow ensuring the camp? Were they somehow ensuring the people that were massacred? Were they like, what's going, why are they involved? Why? I can see why Black Rock is involved, because obviously we're talking undercover mercenary type bull crap here. I mean, it's as obvious as daylight. It doesn't matter how public you are with any of your things. The company, hide in plain sight. But the thing about it is why is AIG's name blasted all over this, but also not? Like, there's stuff that shows that AIG is involved, but like, where and why? Who's getting the money? Who are they insuring? Were they insuring that people were massacred, and why were they massacred? A lot of times, organizations, terrorist or not, they do these things for political gain. They do these things for their higher power and their holy war. But I see no gain for them coming in and massacring these people. It's not like they were going in and taking over an entire area. It's not like they were going and they were making a stomp against the US forces. It's not like it just seems mindless. And that doesn't make sense to me.
well, it's funny. You're right. It doesn't make any sense because, especially since after we pretty much created a new government back in the second Iraq War under George W. Bush, there had to be a reason for doing that, and that's the thing. There had to be some type of witness involved, and for AIG to step in, there had to be some type of payout. Again, going with you, to the
Hold
families.
on, here's something.
Oh, go for it.
Two of the alleged perpetrators of the massacre were arrested in Forza, Finland in December 2015. The suspects were identified from ISIL propaganda videos in which the execution of 11 men took place. Police did not disclose whether the men had applications for asylum in Finland. On 13 December 2016, the 24-year-old twins were charged with murder and committing a war crime for allegedly killing unarmed cadets, as well as aggravated assault with terrorist aims. They were acquitted by the, oh God, Perkanama District Court in 2017. After the persecution appealed the ruling that they were again acquitted by the Turku Court of Appeals in February 2020 due to lack of evidence for the involvement of the brothers in the massacres. So due to lack of evidence, it sounds like these guys in 2020 were kind of like let go.
Well, let go,
There
but
was videos. They
but but
they identified them, but
but have they been heard from? Silenced, paid out, killed. We
in
don't know.
August 2016, 36 men were executed by hanging for their part in the massacre. On 6 September 2016, three mass graves were found by the, I'm not even going to try to say that word. That is, I can't.
Mhm.
Some brigade containing the remains of over 30 people killed in the massacre. In August 2017, 27 people were sentenced to death for their involvement in the massacre. So it seems like some things have happened, but why are we not hearing about this?
Well,
What does the government not, why do they not want us to hear about this?
well, and that's the thing too, is like, they supposedly kill these guys, right? These perpetrators that are involved into it. But to me, it's like my thoughts and feelings about it is, are these just the fall people? It's aftermath. It's like, let's do what we need to do to massacre for these whatever reasons it is, and then eventually start playing the fall guy. I mean, look at, not to create an over conspiracy about 9/11, but they were trying to pin people in 9/11, and like one of them had a supposedly passport that fell out, and they found out the guy is still alive. It's like a
Yeah,
false.
I saw that just recently.
Yeah, it's like a false accusation. So
Yeah.
I think it's like, well, this is eventually going to get out some way, somehow, but let's at least create some type of fall person or persons to cover up the actual true involvement when it comes to a U.S. government. Again, this is it's I mean, 17,000, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So something
Or 1700, sorry,
I'm sorry,
1700.
right. Regardless, it's still a lot of people. It's still a lot of people just to massacre in a one moment for genocide. What was it? What did they see? What did they know?
And what
What?
is Black Rock? Why did Black Rock be involved? Why
Yeah.
is AIG involved?
Well, I can tell you this: Black Rock. I mean, AIG is a big insurance company. To me, that's an easy one, just to do a payout, where that looks like to both the government and or the families. But Black Rock makes a big
I
question mark.
don't, these don't seem like the type of families that are going to get a payout from an insurance company from us. These are Middle Eastern people. And why would we have a payout for them unless they were insured?
You know what, John? You know, it's a good point. Who knows? Who knows? All I know is about BlackRock is one of the companies like Boeing, Lockheed Martin, who are involved to a lot. And I'm going to the whole UFO conspiracy because that's the only connection I can think about. Is that, was there some type of involvement when it comes to the proof and the witnesses of something extraterrestrial? Again, I'm stretching on that one, but that's the only thing I can think of. Like, why was BlackRock involved? And that's going to leave a lot of questions. And this is why we're bringing this subject up to you viewers, to you listeners, to kind of help us with those theories. I think it's a very interesting conversation to kind of reach and do more. And our goal also, and John messaged the guy, and I'm going to do it too, to the person who went to the courthouse in Kitsap County, Port Orchard, and to see if we can get him on and get some more information. But it's definitely intriguing to kind of see what happened, what was the reasons, and why.
And this man is identifying himself as a whistleblower.
Yeah,
He's not being quiet about this. And I mean, if this is even deeper than what we think it is, this man is in danger, especially with companies like BlackRock,
yeah,
AIG, companies with deep pockets, deep
yeah.
connections.
And,
He's making himself very public, very known. He's filing petitions. He has signers. He has videos. He has court documents, and like this
Yeah,
man needs to be protected at all costs.
and that's what.
He needs to
Yeah,
see the public eye, and the world needs to be following this man so that he has eyes on him at all time to make sure that this man is protected before he's silenced.
exactly. And also too, I think one of the reasons too with BlackRock being involved too is when it comes to government contractors, when it comes to using government funds, it's public, right? It has to go through Congress and what's been spent for. We all know Pentagon has not passed an audit for quite some time. I mean, geez, we still have 50 to 60 billion dollars are missing to God knows what. And when it comes to private corporations like Black or well, and I'm not sure they're private or public, regardless, they don't answer to the public when it comes to opening their books and what they're doing. So
No,
it's one of those things like I told you, Don, before, like
and
with
even then, they have enough. They have deep pockets, deep enough connections to where even if somebody does audit them, they'll never get to the
it
information
it, it,
in their lifetime.
excuse me, it reminds me of that song from AC/DC, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, you know?
Absolutely
And to me, that's I think the most appropriate thing is dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Maybe not cheap because it's coming out of our pockets, but it's a dirty deed.
not cheap. It's not cheap when it involves 1,700 people's lives.
Exactly. And innocent lives, regardless of these people. It's innocent. Again, very curious to see why these 1700s were killed in one day. Again, it's unfathom. It's shocking that it's not, well, not shocking, but not surprising that it's not in
And it's
within.
going so close. This is reaching so far as 2020. There's still things going on in 2020 about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And why
And
is this not on the news? Why did I not see anything on the news about, oh, these guys were arrested in Finland? Like this is a huge fucking deal. What's
yeah, well, and
so
here,
that obviously tells me that's a red flag right there. That tells me that the government is censoring any form of media on this whatsoever.
here's the thing too, John, and I keep going back to the UAP thing, right? David Grush and everything, how this is slowly leaking and all this stuff. And is the government going to tell the truth but control the narrative?
Exactly.
And that's the thing too. And
They're
that's
going to tell their truth. They're not going to tell the truth. They're going to tell their truth. They're going to tell the
exact
truth that they want you to hear, that they want you to
exactly.
believe.
And I'm not trying to say it's connected UAP, but I think it could be something. I, I don't know. My head's spinning about that. But if it's that deep and that dark, and you're gonna let UAPs and have an investigation like Arrow be involved and talk about these things, that something's a lot more sinister
Yeah.
and disturbing to do this injustice to these people, that they don't want them to know that it's something that's very concerning to me. And again, I can think about 1,000 different theories about it, especially when it comes to Iraq and its history. Who knows? We have no idea. We have no idea. But again, this is where we depend on you, listeners, to help us out with this. And also, what we're going to do too, like John was reading things about the area and so forth. I kind of want to pull some history and create some additional theories behind it and next episodes, because this is going to be a part one. It is going to be a part one. I think it's going to be, I don't
Yeah.
know.
We will be revisiting this.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
'Cause we want to make sure we do it justice. But we're hoping, God willing, that we do have this whistleblower join us. This is still pretty fresh, and we would love to give him the platform and the invitation to talk about these things.
Or anyone else
Exactly.
who was involved. You can remain nameless.
Yeah.
Like if you know something and you want to speak about it, let us be the ones to give you a voice. We
Yeah.
will do everything in our power to make sure that this is kept private, that you are protected.
Yeah.
Um, because we obviously want you safe, but we also want the truth.
Exactly. Here's something I'll state too. I'm the fan of the Constitution, not a fan of the government, and I'll state it right now publicly.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and 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 I thank God for our forefathers giving us the constitutional rights to bear arms and do things we need to protect it, because honestly, this is our freedom, this is our truth. We should know the truth, regardless if it's good or bad. We should know the truth because it's important for us to process, evolve, and become better persons and also people, and so forth. Don't be a sheep. Don't be a sheep about it, and we want people to question about that. And it's to John, afterwards when we finish the podcast, I kind of want to call my dad about this and see what information he can pull up, because he's an ex-military, and he might have some connections involved to that. Maybe I could get something from him. But yeah, we're gonna work on this. This is a very, very interesting topic regarding this whole massacre thing. I mean, like I
It's
said,
and I stumbled upon this, and I mean, we had a hiccup with our podcast. I was like, hold on, you got to hear this real quick. Let me send you this video.
and it's funny because we had different subjects we're going to talk about, and John pulled us up. I'm like, dude, let's do it. I don't care.
This
Let's
is the
talk
one.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about it. Again, the theories that could be is either it's something that's more nefarious when it comes to what the government's doing to keep the war involved with God knows what, with both Israel and the Middle East and the whole thing. Is it something that has to do with something more biblical? That's a possibility. I think it's a pretty
Yep.
big possibility. Is it something to do with UAPs and aliens? We have no idea. It could be both or all three of those things. We have no idea. But all we know is that it's so secretive and so hard
What
kept secret. Yeah,
we know that there were people murdered. There's money involved with contractors that are based out of the United States. Why are they involved?
exactly.
What purpose did they have to do this? Why were they backing? I can't say backing the massacre, but why are they involved? Why are their names posted on this? What
Yeah,
involvement did they have? Like where does it start? And where's this going to end? Like I obviously this needs to end with justice for the families.
yeah,
I don't know how.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
don't know how that's just you can't give proper justice to somebody who's been murdered, unfortunately.
yeah,
But I think
yeah,
that the best that I can do is to talk about this, find as much information about this as I possibly can. Hopefully, find some other people that with involvement and give them a voice to speak about this, so that the world can start hearing more about this, because there's not enough light on this subject.
yeah, 100%, agreed. And even the only even though it's not the perfect justice, I think the best justice is to the truth of the matter and the reason why behind it, and hopefully there'll be enough outcry and following and belief to bring justice involved what happened to these people that it happened to. And yeah, and again, this is a short part one, but hopefully this will spark interest. And guys, people out there, we want you to get involved. Like I said, the platform's yours. We want you to get involved. We want you to message us. We want you to do those things and let us know. And again, before we end this podcast, how do you do it? Like I said before, definitely email us at boundtoshoot34@gmail.com with any information in regards to this, theories, thoughts, even involvement. Again, like John said, we'll keep you anonymous. And also Facebook, TikTok, X, and also we're on Apple Podcast. And we want everybody to have a great evening. And we look forward to doing another part to this and hopefully getting that person on to share more of the details and give that person a platform, which we would do for everybody. That's the whole
Anyone,
podcast. This is
except for
what
that
we
one
do.
guy, you know who you are.
Yeah, except for that one guy. The one guy keeps kicking me off Kitsap County, Facebook thing. The long haired,
Screw that guy.
ugly Jesus I look like, and whatever. Anyway, so all right, everybody, listen, have a great night. We will talk to you soon.